is truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative is the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey, Status Coup crew, Jen Dyes here, of course, for Status Coup. I hope you're all doing well. I'm sure you've seen already that today has been a big news day. In trying to decide what I was going to cover today, I had so many tabs open on my computer. It was wild, and I had to call at least half of them. And I think the topics that I've settled on you're gonna be into. A lot of shenanigans out there, a lot of disappointments out there, and a lot of bad moves out there. So let's do some housekeeping things before I dive right in. Of course, the first thing I need you all to do is smash the like button. The more you smash that like button, the thumbs up right underneath this video is because it gets YouTube to show the stream to more people. So the more people who smash the like button, the more interest they see in the video, and the more likely they are to actually tell people that we're live, which they tend to not want to do for some strange reason. I also want to tell everyone that the members call that was planned for this evening is going to be postponed. So if you guys see people asking about it in the chat later on, if you could just help answer those who are asking, we're postponing it. We will definitely do it most likely after the convention, which of course is next week, the Dem convention. Everybody get pumped up. So we want to have more time to tell more people about it. And Jordan's a little bit under the weather. He's okay, but he's just not feeling super great right now. So we're going to postpone that. But don't worry, we have some good stuff coming, and we will let you know ASAP exactly when that is going to be. And remember that this is a super chat. So the more super chats you leave, the more it helps our reporting. You can ask questions in super chats. You can leave comments in super chats. You can make jokes in super chats. You can also, and I love these, you can leave super chat stickers, which make me smile. They're adorable. So we really appreciate all of your help. And I have some great news. Look at this, everyone. All right, I have to figure out how to put it on. Not really being able to see myself. Okay, let's do this. The Status Coup member mask is in. Look at that, guys. The Status Coup member mask. So if you will recall, we have had masks up for sale on our, let me talk normally, on our store, our Teespring store. So those are different masks than this one. This one is we only have 50 of these total. So this one is only for new members who join during this promotion. So already 20 are spoken for. So we have about 30 left. And new members, if you join right now for as low as $5 a month, you will get a free mask sent to you. Totally free. It is so cool. It's really good material. It's not hard to breathe through because it's real cotton. So sign up now as a member. Let me show you. Go to statuscoup.com/join. You can sign up for as low as $5 a month and you'll get a free mask, the one I just showed you, We also have a great offer for those who sign up for our annual auction, which kind of gives us, a cash injection for our reporting, and it gives you a full year of membership for a discounted price, and the discount comes from the $20 a month level. So you'll be getting everything available from the $20 a month level, plus you will get a free Status Coup mask, and you'll get a free Status Coup t-shirt. So it's a great deal that we have just right now. And, we've told you over and over again, we're very, very upfront about it. Due to coronavirus, we've lost a lot of members. People saying, we're so sorry, we don't want to cancel, but financially it's just not doable right now. So for those who are able to come up with the $5 a month, or at whatever level you want to join, it's absolutely wonderful if you can join right now, because it helps us. Membership is our lifeblood. The more members we have, the more reporting we're able to do, the more investigations we're able to do, the more in-field trips we're able to take. That consistent monthly membership income really drives us. So your $5 does matter, I promise you. So go to statuscoup.com/join, get your cool mask, or your mask and shirt, and have a great status. So have some great Status Coup swag and feel a true part of the crew. And you'll get in on our monthly members call, which again is postponed. It was going to be tonight. It'll probably be sometime next week, after the convention. So we spill all the dirt. You can ask us any question you have, leave your comments. We kind of get to know each other, and chat. We do a Zoom chat. You can chat on, through text on the side in the chat area. You can get on video. You can get on, you can do it through the phone, whatever you're comfortable with. It's all about you guys, and we do answer all of your questions, within reason, but we tend to be way more open than we should be. That's for sure. Also, I wanted to show you guys real quick. So here's the thing I made for Instagram earlier, showing you that you can get the free Status Coup mask and how to do that. But I also wanted to take a moment to tell you, if you guys haven't followed us on Instagram yet, please do. Instagram.com/statuscoup. Okay, I know that was a lot of housekeeping stuff. I will take a minute to just say, please smash, or a second to say, please smash that like button. Share this stream on all your social media, leave super chats, spread the love, and let's get down to the news. So right now, of course, and some people were mentioning this, Donald Trump is speaking, and I haven't been able to watch because I've been preparing for the live stream, but from what Jordan has told me, he's really just kind of talking about sleepy Joe, or slow Joe, or whatever he's calling him these days. And apparently Trump seems kind of half asleep himself. So I'm sure we will keep up to whatever's going on there, and let you guys know of anything breaking. Oh, Riley says hit the like for Queen Jen. Thank you. Okay, so the other thing, I wanted to touch on this. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, because at this point, it's truly, it's annoying. And not annoying in the sense that, oh, it's annoying, so let's not focus on this. It's annoying and disturbing and horrible, in fact, that our Congress still has not come to an agreement to help us all. And in fact, they have left until September. Let's take a look at that. And yeah, annoyed wasn't strong enough. Let's get furious at what's happening with our Congress. So this reporting comes out of The Hill, and it was released just a bit ago. Senate leaves until September without coronavirus relief deal. The Senate left Washington, D.C. on Thursday until September, the latest sign that a deal on a fifth coronavirus relief package is at least weeks away. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had kept the chamber in session this week, which was technically the first in its August recess, as the last-ditch attempt to create a space for the administration and congressional Democrats to get an agreement. But with talks stalemated, senators argue that there is little reason for them to keep holding daily, roughly 1.5-hour sessions. The House already left town and is not expected to return until September 14th. So all of Congress just gone until September. So they're talking about, they'll have their, so, okay, so McConnell, excuse my stumbling, says we will have our regular pro forma meetings through the end of the state work period if the Speaker of the House and the Minority Leader of the Senate decide to finally let another package move forward. It would take bipartisan consent to meet for legislative business sooner than scheduled. McConnell added that he hoped the Senate would be able to act sometime soon. So senators will get at least 24 hours notice to return if congressional Democrats, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows are able to break the impasse and votes are scheduled. Otherwise, the Senate will formally reconvene on September 8th. Senator Chuck Grassley predicted during a conference call on Tuesday that if negotiators didn't restart by Thursday, the administration's executive orders would be the only action that takes place until early September. So they go on to say there's little reason to think a deal will be reached before then. And the 4 key negotiators have not met in person since Friday, when the talks officially collapsed. And the only contact to take place this week, Mnuchin calling House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Wednesday, resulted in dueling statements that only illustrated how stalemated the negotiations on coronavirus relief have become. So, of course, we all know the story. The Democrats entered negotiations with a package of approximately $3.4 trillion to $3.7 trillion and have offered to reduce that price tag by $1 trillion. Republicans and the White House have refused to move from roughly $1 trillion. So I'll pop the link into that article so you can read the full thing. The takeaway point here is that our government does not have its act together. This is embarrassing. When you look at other countries, other developed countries, and the fact that their citizens are getting UBI, their citizens are getting relief, their citizens already have Medicare for all. Their citizens are already taken care of. And with this coronavirus, with this pandemic, they're being taken care of even more because that's what needs to happen. The fact that our Congress cannot come together in some sense and provide decent relief, decent humane relief to its citizens is a complete disgrace. Now, people will say, oh, it's, the two sides can't come together. The Democrats, the Republicans will say that the Democrats are too far left. They're wanting too much. The Democrats, of course, will say the Republicans are mean and vicious and they're not offering nearly enough at all. No matter what, with what we saw with other bills, businesses are their main concern on both sides. Businesses got what they needed, corporate businesses, not small mom and pop shops. And the people are left out of this. I don't care that it's, that there are partisan issues. I don't care that politics is complicated. I don't care that government is complicated. What you do as people who work for the citizens of this country is you come together, you figure it out, you stay there all day and all night if you have to. You figure out something because people are going homeless. In some states, half of renters are on the path to eviction. So in some cases, in some states, more than half. People can't pay their bills. People can't, that $1,200 we all got, that's long gone. That was already spoken before it was even sent. So it's a disgrace and a complete embarrassment that our government can't get it together, and there's no excuse for it. There's no reason they need to go on recess. It's completely absurd. And they can say all they want, like, oh, these are the rules, this is how it's set up. I don't care. Fix it. So it's very, very angering and insulting to the people of this country on all sides of the aisle, on both sides of the aisle. So, we'll keep up to date on that. Hopefully they do come back together sooner rather than later. It's obscene to wait until September. And in the meantime, it's us. It's the people who suffer. So smash that like button and keep sharing so more people start to see this stream. I don't know if you guys, I'm switching gears now. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the kind of social media scuffle in Massachusetts. And it's not just a social media scuffle. it was and is an attack from the establishment wing on a true progressive. So what I'm talking about, of course, is Alex Morse. Let me back up a little bit. I don't want to be cryptic at all about the situation, but I felt it was very, very important for me to report on this. It's something I've been following and something that has just infuriated me. So this is Alex Morse, a Democratic candidate for Massachusetts 1st District. He was mayor of Holyoke for 4 terms, and a progressive guy. You know, he's been endorsed by Indivisible, Sunrise, Justice Dems, Brand New Congress. You know, the progressive groups came together pretty early on in his candidacy and stood behind him. That was great. It seemed like, you know, he was getting some liftoff, he was getting some recognition, and he was and is going up against this guy. This is Richard Neal, the current representative of the 1st District of Massachusetts in Congress. So, I mean, first of all, the picture they chose for for his campaign site is kind of hysterical. That's neither here nor there. It's just, you know, it's who you would expect. It's like at a casting call for exactly who this guy is. So this guy, Richard Neal, is a complete establishment guy. He's pretty powerful in Congress, and he's just one of those people who seems to think he'll always be around, that he can kind of do what he wants, and his policies are not for the people. So having Alex Morse come along, who's a young, energetic guy who happens to be gay. And yes, there is a reason why I'm bringing up that he happens to be gay. It is incredibly relevant to this story. So yeah, that's been their race. Things were going well for Alex. And then this happened. On the 8th of August, the Daily Collegian, which is a student paper in Massachusetts, let's see exactly what their description says. The independent student newspaper at UMass Amherst. So they released this tweet saying, breaking, UMass Amherst is launching an investigation into claims of serious and deeply concerning behavior following allegations that Holyoke Mayor Alex B. Morse had sexual relationships with students while he was a lecturer at the school. They link to an article, which we'll look at quickly. Other tweets say consensual relationships, such as dating or sexual relationships between faculty and students, are inherently problematic because of the unequal power dynamic between the parties to the relationship, the university wrote in a statement Saturday afternoon. Morse was hired as a political science lecturer in 2014, according to the school. He has taught every year since, last serving as an adjunct professor for urban government and politics in fall 2019. Morse is not currently employed by the UMass, school officials said. The university has no plans to rehire Morse. The investigation will determine whether Morse violated the school policy. And Morse back then released a statement saying, I want to be clear that every relationship I've had has been consensual. However, I also recognize that I have to be cognizant of my position of power, Morse said in a statement to the Collegian Friday evening. So taking these tweets at kind of face value, it raises some alarm bells. And some people, progressives, definitely establishment Dems, jumped to, let's immediately condemn Alex Morse. Let's, if they did support him, some people immediately said, I'm no longer supporting him. People jumped to that right away. On the basis of what, though? So the Daily Collegian tweets are not really specific. They don't really say much. They talk about dynamics of power, which of course puts a bad image in people's minds. There are, of course, many, many awful instances where people are sexually assaulted or sexually coerced or groomed by people in power. So yeah, it's reasonable that people were concerned. it's a different topic to talk about how quickly certain people dismissed Alex without more details. So let's see what else they had to say. UMass to launch investigation into Alex Morse following alleged relationships with students while lecturer. So some of it's just what we talked about through the chats. Let's see here. UMass was unaware of the allegations prior to the report of the College Democrats' letter. Officials said the allegations come in the midst of Morse's battle against Richard Neal, which of course we know. So, even going to the article, it really says nothing. Nothing at all. So the important point here from this, one of the only takeaways, is that the announcement came one day after it was reported that College Democrats of Massachusetts, and they play a big role in this, had severed ties with the mayor, alleging that Morse had inappropriate sexual relations with college students and used his position of power for romantic or sexual gain. So that letter from College Democrats of Massachusetts was obtained by the Daily Collegian, and the group alleged that Morse had sexual contact with college students, including at UMass Amherst, where he teaches, and the Greater 5 College Consortium. Okay, so it sounds like, the way they're presenting it, it sounds like he had sex with his students, right? But then you think about the sort of timeline, and then you learn some more about what's going on, and then you learn a whole lot more, and then it all unravels. So what I'm talking about on the first point is that we learn that there are no specific accusations at all. The accusations literally boiled down to Alex was on dating apps, and Alex met up with adults in a college town, and some of those adults happened to be students at various colleges. So he had consensual sexual relationships with adults, consenting adults, who happened to also be college students. Alex Morse did not lecture at the college and target his students and have sex with them. That's not what he did at all. All he did was simply meet age-appropriate adult college-age students, college students, and in some cases had sex with them. Okay, everyone's consenting. Who cares? And then you learn that the other accusation was that Alex was having inappropriate conversations with students that he met at lectures that he'd given. So they made it sound like that Alex was like a frequent visitor to the Massachusetts College Gems, and that he had been there as part of his campaign a lot of times. So part of this accusation was Alex Morse is using his candidacy, his power as a candidate, to and this is really ridiculous, to send a text message to people who happen to be students who are interested in talking to him. I mean, it sounds absurd because it absolutely is. So the allegations are that he had sex with consenting adults who happen to be students, not his students. That's an important point. And that he used his power as a candidate to send text messages to people who were students or who had enjoyed his lectures or whatever. And yes, some of those text messages have been released, and you know how scandalous they are. They say things like, "How was your weekend? I hope it was good." And that's it. It's not sexual. Like, these messages are not sexual. They are not inappropriate. They're simply Alex being a nice guy, being a campaigner who's like trying to be nice to people. This topic gets me so heated. So there's more. Let's get to the nitty gritty of how this kind of unravels for these disgusting people who tried to take Alex Morse down. So major, major, major kudos to Daniel Boguslaw and Ryan Grimm. They have been hot on this case from the start. There are two articles I'm going to kind of go through. So, college Democrat at center of attack on Alex Morse hoped to launch career through Richard Neal. Rank and file UMass college Democrats were stunned to see the letter in their chapter's leadership wrote on their behalf. In the battle raging for Massachusetts' 1st Congressional District, currently held by the chair of the powerful Ways and Means Committee, Rep. Richard Neal, political operatives are turning up in unlikely places. Last week, tensions flared after a letter written by the Massachusetts College Democrats informed Alex Morse, Neal's challenger, that he was no longer welcome at their events. A letter that was promptly published by the school's newspaper. So this letter is gives more of the specific ridiculous accusations that we just covered. So the 31-year-old mayor of Holyoke, Massachusetts, was barred for allegedly having made students feel uncomfortable by sending them messages through Instagram and matching with University of Massachusetts students on Tinder. In addition to having sexual contact with students at UMass Amherst, where he was previously an adjunct professor. Morse has rejected allegations of impropriety. He has said he believes that Neal was behind the College Democrats' action and timing, a charge Neal has denied. The College Democrats have not alleged that Morse had inappropriate relationships with students he taught, but rather accused him of having relationships with other students in Western Massachusetts, some at UMass Amherst. UMass, like most universities, only bars relationships between students and faculty who have a supervisory or teaching relationship, not all students generally. So, in any case, Alex Morse did not violate the university's policies at all. He did nothing wrong. So, a lot of this, the discourse connected to this at this point, before we knew who was truly behind this, was talking about the fact that, Alex Morse is 31. Some of the men, again, he's gay, so homophobia plays a huge, huge role in this. It plays a role in how people reacted, even progressives, Democrats, and I believe it's in addition to wanting to take down a progressive, it's a disgusting move, because they knew they could easily put out false accusations that would stick, especially because of homophobia and the fact that it is entirely common for the kinds of consensual relationships Alex had with other men to happen exactly as they did. The accusations and the way people reacted are homophobic, are completely tone deaf to gay culture, and are what you would expect of Republicans and of homophobes, because that's what people are in this situation and the ways that they reacted. So Alex is a 31-year-old, and this was part of what they said, was sometimes hooking up with people in their 20s. Can you believe it? In their 20s? Yeah, it's ridiculous. This guy was not going after teenagers. This guy was not going after anyone inappropriately. These are adults. And the infantilizing of college students is absurd. There are certain people saying, well, people can't truly consent to sex until they're 25. So the fact that Alex was 31 and he had sex with, a 23-year-old, that means he used his power and that person couldn't consent. No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And by the way, no one seems to complain about the fact that Mayor Pete met Chasten as he was a student, and Mayor Pete was mayor. Oh my gosh, how scandalous. No one cares, and no one should care. But the way that this was presented made people care wrongly, without any facts. And we all know it is important to, the Me Too movement, hugely important. Believing women, hugely important. Believing men who say they've been sexually assaulted, sexually abused, hugely important. There's none of that here. There's no specific man that came forward and said that they had been sexually assaulted or abused. None. This is entirely fabricated based on homophobia and based on, again, a lack of understanding of gay culture and the fact that college students are, yes, they're adults. I just can't, this moralizing, this like moral police, that is something that I grew up with right-wing parents and grew up with like in this super conservative Christian church. I did not think that progressives and leftists would act this way. Absurd. So let's see who this culprit is. While the allegation, short of details or any student claiming to be a victim, the focus has shifted to the origin of the letter. And before I do that, I see a text from Jordan. So I'll tell you the details in a second there. Yes, smash the like button, share this stream. Right now I'm scrolling for super chats. Andy P, $5 in the super chat. We need independent journalism now more than ever. Please join if you haven't already. Jen, you're amazing and love your live streams. Thank you, Andy. You are super, super sweet. Always. Love Andy. And by the way, folks, I feel so bad because 2 years ago, Andy won a Status Coup fleece from us in a contest, and she was so excited, and I was so excited that she won. And then it was my fault, forgot about it. So poor Andy, 2 years later, I just now ordered it. I feel awful. Andy, you are a trooper. You're like the sweetest. And also, welcome new Status Coup member, John. John, you are getting this. Yay! statuscoup.com/join. Get your free mask if you sign up for annual mask and t-shirt. Awesome. Keep smashing the like button. I think I saw another super chat. I always tell you guys I hate scrolling for super chats. I feel like I'm wasting your time. Okay. So keep the super chats coming. Consider becoming a member. statuscoup.com/join. That $5 a month helps us an incredible amount, and you get free stuff to boot. So, all right, let's get back to this awful, in air quotes, scandal. The scandal is on the part of the establishment Dems and this gross person we're about to talk about. The man serving as chief strategist for the UMass Amherst College Democrats, Timothy Ennis, recently completed a class with Neal, who teaches a journalism course. Ennis, according to 2 members of the College Democrats chapter, was open about his hopes of working for Neal in the future. Meanwhile, an aide with the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, in which the journalism program sits, alerted the school's administration of evidence that the recently surfaced allegations against Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse are politically motivated. Claire Sheedy, a rising sophomore and a Morse supporter, was active in the College Democrats chapter and knew Ennis through their joint work on behalf of the Pete Buttigieg campaign for president, with Ennis handing off the reins of the organization to Sheedy. So they talk about their time together, and Ennis, so Sheedy said Ennis, spoke very highly of Mr. Neal. What he said to me was he wanted Neal to be his in to politics and work his way up from there. So to paint the picture more clearly, this guy Ennis loved Neal, wanted to be on the inside of politics after taking a class with Neal, and he was part of those behind this disgusting campaign against Alex Morse. Sheedy said she asked Ennis what he thought of Morse, and Ennis said Morse socialized with students in a way he found creepy, and that Morse had recently matched with a student on the Tinder dating app. And Sheedy said she didn't think of it again when they were told about the letter, or until they were told about the letter. So at this point, Ennis did not respond to requests for comment. A spokesperson for Neal did not respond to a request for comment. Sheedy ended up leaving the chapter after the letter was published. And so the rest of this, I'll pop it in the chat for you guys. The next article is really where it gets crazy. Crazy. Okay. Oh my goodness. So new members, John and Cheryl. John and Cheryl, thank you so much for becoming members of Status Coup. Statuscoup.com/join. Free mask. You just joined $5 and get a free mask. $5 a month. It's the best choice. All right. So here's the real deal here. Let's see. Is it the right one? I think. Yeah, okay. So that's coming. 1 second though, and because I wanted to share this with you too, and I forgot. So Grace Panetta, who is a journalist with Business Insider, commented on these allegations and The Intercept's original article that we just went through. And she said, while I can't independently confirm all of this, the details of this story are highly consistent with a message I got in late April from an anonymous email account with the address creepy Alex Morse at protonmail.com, trying to get me to write about vague, unspecified accusations. The message had a list of students involved in UMass Amherst Dem students and their email addresses, saying those people could confirm Morse's vague, unspecified, improper behavior. And then said I should go to one of the org's leaders once I had something on the record. And she just looked back at the email itself, and two of the names on the list of people who she was told had dirt on Morse were the names of the two people The Intercept identified as spearheading the plan in the article we're about to go into. So the gist there is these people behind this attempted takedown of Alex Morse, they had shopped this around to a variety of journalists and publications for months. They were trying to get this, and no one would bite because they were unspecified allegations that had no merit, or at least none that, they could find, because no one would come forward and claim that he'd actually done anything truly wrong. So that college newspaper that I showed you in the beginning, they're the only ones who would publish this letter. And they did, and here we are. So here's the kicker. Ryan Grimm and Daniel Boguslaw came out with this yesterday, and the internet went wild because it really, really vindicates Alex Morse, even more so than the article we just read. So college Democrat chats reveal year-old plan to engineer and leak Alex Morse accusations. This will sink his campaign, predicted a college Democrat leader hoping to work for Rep. Richard Neal. The leadership of the University of Massachusetts Amherst College Democrats began discussing an operation they believed could sink the campaign of Alex Morse for Congress as far back as last October, a plan they then helped engineer and which came to fruition on Friday, again, after the letter of the College Democrats and the publication in the Daily Collegian. The letter, sent 3 weeks before his primary challenge to Representative Richard Neal, 3 weeks before this race, interesting timing, informed Morse that he was no longer welcome at college Democratic events, and goes through the allegations that they had made in that letter. On Wednesday, following a statement by Morse, the statewide College Democrats chapter clarified that he had in fact only attended a single event during the course of his campaign. It was after that event in October 2019 that the leadership of the UMass Amherst chapter began to talk about leaking a story to damage Morse, according to those online communications. Timothy Ennis, the chief strategist for the UMass Amherst College Democrats, admitted in the chats that he was a Neal stan. For those of you who don't know what a stan is, it's a super fan, Neal stan. So imagine being a Richard Neal superfan. Anyway, and said he felt conflicted about involving the chapter of the College Democrats in a future attack on Morse. But I need a job, concluded Ennis. Neil will give me an internship. At the time, Ennis was president of the chapter, a post he held from April 2019 to April 2020 when he was term limited out. Leaders of the College Democrats group went beyond merely plans to leak. They also explicitly discussed how they could find Morse's dating profiles and then lead him into saying something incriminating that would then damage his campaign. Can you imagine? They were trying to trap him into saying something wrong so they could take him down. That effort appears to have failed to generate the material they hoped for, but the group's leaders did believe they held damning evidence they contemplated leaking. Instagram messages between Morse and Andrew Abramson, who in April became president of the organization. Ultimately, the College Democrats did not release any chats or any other specific claims against Morse, opting instead to level broader charges that he behaved inappropriately. Then it goes into Morse's statement. On October 5th, Morse attended a College Democrats event at a local community college. Neil also appeared and was introduced by Ennis, who was at the time enrolled in a journalism class Neil taught at UMass Amherst. Why is Neil teaching a journalism class? Anyway, Neil later told Ennis he was impressed by the event. Ennis claimed in the chats. Morse sat on a panel with Abramson. After the event, Morse reached out to Abramson on Instagram to say it was a pleasure meeting. The two had previously matched on Tinder, Ennis said in the chats, but had never met up. To match on Tinder means both parties must swipe in the same direction in order to begin a conversation. Okay, so are you guys ready to see these damning messages? Okay, get ready. Here's what Alex said. So the student said, "Thank you, good to see you too." Alex said, "How's the rest of your weekend?" The student said, "Pretty good. I went home last night to surprise my mom for her birthday. How about you?" And Alex responded, "Aw, that's nice. How was that? I had an event to go to last night to speak, then had a wine tasting party at a friend's house. Now I'm in North Adams about to march in a parade." And then whoever was talking about this exchange with the student responded, because this was a screenshot of that conversation. So this is like what the response of whoever was chatting about it said. It says, like, read that message. Also, don't mind me totally leading him on. Nothing, it's ridiculous. Nothing is happening. He's being nice and friendly and cordial. Is being a nice person like an assault these days? Is that what Democrats want to be? Democrats want to be the party of, you can't ask someone if their weekend was nice, or you can't wish them a good weekend because you could be grooming them. That's ridiculous. These people have got to get their heads screwed on straight. This smear attempt is just beyond. Okay. So Abramson was in fact the one who was commenting on his own chat with Alex Morse. So Abramson shared a screenshot of the exchange with friends. Not overt, but it's very clear he's not talking to me for no reason. Dude, he's campaigning. He's seemingly a nice guy. Ugh. And then Abramson continues, read that message. Also, don't mind me totally leading him on. He added that he accepted the message request because why not? This will sink his campaign, Ennis said, calling it part of a pattern of Morse dating students. That conversation with Abramson appears to be connected to the charge that underlies the College Democrats' statement against Morse. When they said that Morse sought out students that he met at our events privately on social media in a manner widely understood by our generation to indicate intimacy. No. After Ennis concluded the chats with Abramson would sink Morse's campaign, the conversation between Morse and Abramson continued for another several weeks. During that same time period, Ennis was a student in Neil's The Politician and the Journalist class at UMass Amherst, and had been open with other members of the College Democrats about hoping to land a job with Neil. The Intercept reported Tuesday. Ennis in the chats quipped that perhaps he should leak the information by including it in a paper for Neil's class. And this is again Sheedy talking about Ennis speaking highly of Neil. Neil denies any connection. Let's see here. In the chats, Ennis also floated the possibility of leaking allegations against Morse to Politico, and indeed in June, the college Democrats did so, pitching the story to Alex Thompson, a political reporter at the outlet. Thompson reached out to the Morse campaign as part of his reporting, though ultimately did not run the story until months later, after the college paper ran it. So this is Ennis, and he says, me giving this story to Politico. And the meme is horny police and you. So obviously this means this is Alex Morse and they're the horny police. After receiving the inquiry, Morse said he reached back out to Abramson, the only student Morse had communicated with after a college Democrats event during his campaign. Morse said he apologized if his outreach had made the chapter president uncomfortable, and Abramson blocked him. You know, as you can do on these apps, like if you don't want to talk to someone, don't talk to them, block them, or just move on. Ennis said in the chats that he had learned from people who had graduated previously that Morse was on Tinder, sharing a screenshot of a profile from the year before. The profile is standard dating app fare and does not include Morse's title as mayor of the nearby town of Holyoke, a position he's had since he was 22, nor does it mention his time as an adjunct at UMass, which ended last fall. So I have to add this. One of their, so obviously they were trying to get him on, partially on accusations of him using his power and his position as a candidate or whatever, as mayor, against these students. But then at the same time, these accusations say that people didn't know that he was mayor. So it's, you know, a conundrum for these false accusers who never actually came forward. So there's the profile, you know, fine, great. Ennis said in the chats that Morse had never matched with him or messaged him, but discussed an effort to find him and match. So Ennis was trying to match with Morse so that he could entrap him, to clarify that. Okay, so it turns out that the letter was not actually a collective work of the members of the college Democrats. So it was put forward without the knowledge of a lot of the members, or several of the members. And let's see here. So Abramson declined to comment. Neither Ennis nor the college Democrats responded to requests for comments. Daniel Marins of HuffPo contacted the college Democrats for further comment on Wednesday to ask whether or not their letter was motivated by Ennis's or anyone else's political ambitions. And here's the response. This had nothing to do with Tim Ennis or anyone else's personal ambitions, and Morse attended many group meetings prior to House Run. Okay, so then their accusation about him using his position as a candidate, therefore, does not hold. So, you know, there you have it. You have, I hate this term, I hate when people use it, but I'm going to use it, a total nothing burger. You have people up in arms, ready with pitchforks to demand that Morse step down. You had groups like the Sunrise Movement come out condemning him. Other groups kind of held back, other groups waited a little bit, but more than one kind of condemned him without any evidence at all. And I'm talking about progressive groups. So it's like people put out random accusations without any basis, and progressive groups that we look up to and have hope for threw him under the bus. Just threw him under the bus. I want to give a major, major shout out to Brand New Congress, who did not do that. Total disclosure, I used to be on the writing team for Brand New Congress. So, but that, you know, that has nothing to do with my thoughts on how they handled this. They waited until the evidence came out. They they really made an effort to figure this out before making any sort of statement condemning Alex, or they didn't, or anything, because you have to have evidence. People can't just run around saying whatever they want and then endorsements are pulled and someone's campaign is over. You can't do that. So brand new Congress had a very well thought out statement that they made yesterday. I urge you to check that out. To the organizations that jumped the gun and went based on nothing against Alex, or kind of toed the line by saying, we condemn these actions, but so we're gonna wait and see. But we condemn him. This is bad. No, that's not, you can't do that. You really harm people. And here we are 3 weeks away from this election, and this has happened. I want to reiterate, I fully believe this was an attempt to take him down based on wanting the establishment to win, based on personal ambition on the part of Tim Ennis, which of course he denies and seems ridiculous because the evidence for that is there. It all comes down to me, other than the campaign and the political stuff, that this is steeped in homophobia. And it's a real shame. Here we are in 2020. I'm not even talking about conservatives. I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm talking about people who, turn their avatar pictures to the rainbow flag in June. People who consider themselves allies. People who people who purport to care about homosexuality and gay people. They clearly don't. This moment shows us that a lot of people don't, and that a lot of people and organizations are totally willing to try to keep themselves okay and not stand up for what's right. So that's the Alex Morse story that we know until now. I do also want to say that yesterday he seemingly made had a lot of great people fundraise for him and pass his link around for fundraising. So hopefully some good comes out of this mess, and I hope some people learned a very, very valuable lesson. You can't just say someone's guilty because someone else says so. That's not how it works. And that's what happened in this situation. So hopefully a big lesson learned. Let me check in on you guys, see how you're doing in the chats. Ooh, I see a super chat. Getting excited. Gonna scroll. Scrolling. Jacqueline DeBlue, 50 pounds in the super chat. Oh my God. Okay. I love this question so much. Hold on, let me switch it back. I love this question. So Jacqueline says, lovely Jen, what do you think of that Cardi B song that got Ben Shapiro so head up, or not? And of course, I hope Alex Morse survives all this crap. And finally, you sure did great coming out of that right-wing background so unscathed. I'll address the right-wing background first. I was so brainwashed. I used to, I don't even want to get into like this conservative church and youth group I used to go to. It's insane. Like, maybe I'll do a members video on that. Oh, you guys should join as members. statuscoup.com/join. I'll do a members video on my very conservative, very almost fundamentalist Christian upbringing. And right-wing brainwashing. I used to argue with my I don't know what class it was called. It was about politics, and he was left-wing, and so I had been taught like left-wing people are essentially the devil, like they're bad. So I used to come in. I used to love to research even back then. I used to come in with like arguments against his points, and we would have debates back and forth. And the debate part was cool. Like, he wasn't a jerk or anything. He would go back and forth with me. But I remember, I will never forget, and this was an important lesson, but he said to me when I brought in a Heritage Foundation paper, he said to me, he's like, you have to really look out for the sources that you pull from. Like, these people are funded by people who, pay them to spend. So that was a great, great lesson. Anyway, enough about me. what do I think? Okay, so first of all, the Cardi B song is, I mean, you can't help but like, it's a good catchy song, and it is like, obviously we've had songs with like female empowerment and female sexuality come out before, but it feels like in this moment, the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and them coming together and doing this, like it was a big moment. It's all anyone's talking about. But I spent like an entire night dying laughing about Ben Shapiro's response to this. And he was like, my doctor wife says that they must have a medical condition. I'm trying not to get into too much like detail because I won't say like P word like Ben Shapiro did. But anyway, I think the song is great, and I think everybody, if they haven't yet, should go look up Ben Shapiro's reactions and then look up basically the entire internet dunking on Ben Shapiro. And I just love it. Couldn't love it more. So great. Keep those super chats coming, and remember, join as a member of Status Coup for $5 a month, and you'll get a free Status Coup mask, as I showed you before, $179 annually, and you get a mask and a shirt. So awesome stuff, and we will soon be doing a members call as well. We are postponing the one that was going to be tonight, so we will do it probably after the convention. We'll let you guys know. But the members calls are so great. It's a good time for us to get to know each other, and to we answer your questions. You get to ask us anything you want on video or simply in text chat. We have a great time. It helps us get to know each other, and it really makes you feel part of the Status Coup crew. So if you have $5 that you're able to spare financially each month, it really helps us. Membership is our lifeblood, and look at this. How could you pass this up? Your own Status Coup mask, which is different than the ones that we have in our Teespring store. So these are exclusive to new members. Yes, exclusive. And we only have about 30 of them left. I'm messing up my hair and I look a mess. But statuscoup.com/join. I promise you it's completely worth it. Okay. Okay, I'm just now seeing all the comments about Ben Shapiro. I love it. I will totally have a Ben Shapiro talk with anybody who wants to talk about it. All right, moving on. Getting serious. I'm putting my serious face back on. So this next part to me is, This next part to me is actually pretty sad because, in my opinion, I'm not telling anyone how to vote. I'm with, I'm on with Bernie on this one. We obviously can't have Bernie right now, and Bernie has urged us to treat these next 3 months as the most important 3 months of our lives. And he even said it's the most three important months in recent history. So I believe that Donald Trump has to be stopped, no matter what. Yes, obviously, Biden and Harris are terrible. They're awful. But I don't know that we can push them to do better. I don't know. Probably not. We probably can't. But with climate change being the way it is and how little time we have to pay attention to that, it is 100% guaranteed that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will do better on climate change, for example. Donald Trump is a huge, huge threat. So I'm not Team Trump at all by any means. But I do want to say Donald Trump is a master of propaganda. He's a master of PR. He's a master of manipulation. In fact, I just got done reading a book. I think it's called something like The Cult of Trump. And so it's written by a former member of the Mooney cult. So once he was kind of deprogrammed and got out of that cult, he's since dedicated his life to researching and understanding cults, other than the one he was in, and the psychology of it, and helping to deprogram other people to get out of cults. So he wrote this book, which basically says that the way Trump is to his supporters and the way his supporters, his most ardent, avid supporters, are towards him is very, very cult-like. And Trump has a way of of hypnotizing people. So his short repetitions of things, build the wall, that sticks in your mind. Sleepy Joe, Crazy Bernie, all those things stick in your mind, and he repeats them over and over again. And not only that, but they also tell a story. The latest story that Donald Trump is programming into his followers' mind is phony Kamala. Now, Slow Joe. What do you think of when you hear Slow Joe? Well, that plays into the videos that Trump is, of course, playing on repeat and putting into his ads of Joe Biden not remembering things, of Joe Biden being slow, seemingly in cognitive decline. What image or story does it tell you when he says phony Kamala? Well, to progressives, that might bring up, her, the fact that Wall Street is excited about her. The fact that she backed away from Medicare for all. There are many ways that progressives find her phony. On the side of conservatives, they of course find her phony for their own reasons. So Trump uses elements that cult leaders use to kind of program his followers. And one of the most important things he has done is convincing very fundamentalist, very conservative Christians. He's gotten their leaders to essentially say Donald Trump was sent here by God. It is him. It can only be him. And yeah, he was sent here by God. And he's the only one that can fulfill the mission of getting rid of the elite corruption in the government. This is why people support QAnon. The bad liberals, the progressives, they're basically calling Kamala Harris a communist. So he's exceptionally skilled in that, and that book is fascinating. I definitely recommend it. But the point is, as much as I despise Trump, I also think there's a reason he's president right now, and that's because he's skilled in ways that people normally aren't, that politicians normally aren't. So it really worries me when you have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, whose tagline is "Build Back Better." What? What does that even mean? Build back better. Oh, I'm so inspired now. Build back better. Like, no, that's not convincing to anyone. The only people that have like Joe and Kamala's backs are the people that were always going to have their backs no matter what. Many because they're simply not Trump. And that's it. I think by no means is this election over. Yes, of course it looks to be in Joe Biden's favor right now, but anything could happen. I've said it before, this is 2020, especially in this year, anything can happen. And I don't feel comfortable with people saying Biden's absolutely going to get it. Yes, Donald Trump has murdered so many people through his handling of the coronavirus. Yes, Donald Trump is bad. Yes, he's crazy. Yes, he's racist, and he's all these things, and he does all these things wrong. But he is a master of manipulation, and he's a master of manipulating people's brains and beliefs. The people who are his closest supporters will never believe that he's done anything wrong. They excuse it. Their brains allow that. They don't even process it. There's no convincing those people. They would truly have to be deprogrammed. There's a documentary I want to watch called, I think it's something like the Deprogramming of My Dad or something like that, where it's a woman whose father was totally brainwashed by Fox News and right-wing media. And that's what Trump does. So my point in all this is Trump, in my opinion, has a scary, scary power. And I think it's underplayed and even underanalyzed by people on the left. I think everyone should be cautious right now and don't think that Biden has us in the bag. So what we're going to look at is the difference in the advertisements that Joe Biden and Donald Trump have put out since Kamala was, took on the candidacy VP slot for the Dems. So up first is Joe Biden's ad with Kamala. One second.
was raised to take action. My mother knew that she was raising 2 black daughters who would be treated differently because of how they looked. Growing up, whenever I got upset about something, my mother would look me in the eye and ask, "So what are you gonna do about it?" That's why, when I saw a broken justice system, I became a lawyer to try and fix it. It's why during the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks as California's Attorney General. It's why, as United States Senator, I have fought to represent people like my mother, people who politicians often overlook or don't take seriously. Right now, America needs action. In the middle of a pandemic, the president is trying to rip away healthcare. While small businesses close, he's given breaks to his wealthy donors. And when the people cried out for support, he tear-gassed them. America is in crisis, and I know Joe Biden will lead us out of it. He's a man of faith, decency, and character. He raised his family that way. I saw it firsthand with my good friend Beau. As Joe says, we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. But together, it's a battle we can win. We just have to take action.
First of all, is the answer yes?
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe, and I am ready to work. I am ready to do this with you, for you. I'm just deeply honored, and I'm very excited.
Okay. So it's very clear that the brain power behind Build Back Better. By the way, they're selling Build Back Better bumper stickers in the Joe Biden store, so you better go get yours before they run out. It's very clear that the brain trust behind that slogan are also the people who are putting on ads like this. So, okay, it's kind of interesting to see the actual call when Joe Biden called Kamala Harris and offered her the VP slot. Okay, whatever. It's newsworthy. I don't know if it's ad worthy. I mean, I guess it's cool to see pictures of her as a little kid. I guess, the rest of it is like her lying about her record and her goals in becoming like attorney general and as a prosecutor. That's what it brings up for me is like, okay, you're just lying here. You actually didn't do good. You didn't want to do good. You are a cop. Kamala Harris is a cop. And then the rest of it's just like Donald Trump is bad and, coronavirus is bad and we had protests and Trump was bad in that. And then it ends. I'm not inspired. I'm not, this doesn't inspire me to vote for Biden. What is there to hope for? What are you trying to give people? You say you want to restore the soul of this nation, but what does that mean? Does restoring the soul of this nation simply mean going back to the status quo and getting away from Donald Trump? Does it mean continuing endless wars, continuing to not have Medicare for all, continuing to treat citizens like dirt, like they don't matter, like their lives don't matter? Kamala Harris has put Black lives behind bars, that's for sure. She's given very, very strong, people are in jail for a very long time because of her for minor things. Restoring the soul of this nation, that means nothing. Except to the people you're already catering to and who are already going to vote for you. So, thinking about that ad, so put that on your mind. Now let's see what Trump's response was to this. And try to think about it as someone like looking for someone to trying to decide who you're going to vote for. So try to come at it from that angle. Like if I were undecided right now, which of these ads would sway me or would at least get me to think more? So let's look at Trump's ad.
Kamala Harris ran for president by rushing to the radical left, embracing Bernie's plan for socialized medicine, calling for trillions in new taxes, attacking Joe Biden for racist policies. Voters rejected Harris. They smartly spotted a phony. But not Joe Biden. He's not that smart. Biden calls himself a transition candidate. He is handing over the reins to Kamala while they jointly embrace the radical left. Slow Joe and phony Kamala. Perfect together, wrong for America.
So I'm curious what you guys think about that ad. What I saw in that ad was it's very short. You know, it's hard to keep people's attention these days. It's very snappy. It visually keeps your attention. It auditorily keeps your attention because you have that music, you have that voice. It's kind of fast talking. So the focus, this tells a couple of stories. That is really what Trump is going to be trying to drive home to people by repetition. He's saying, okay, this other side is bad. Kamala Harris is essentially a communist, like they're focused on the radical left. Those things are very catchy to people who might be undecided, in my opinion. They're certainly catchy to people who are already supporting Trump. But beyond that, beyond like the typical, like one side slams the other, you know, they think each other are bad, like that's whatever. But what Trump has done is he said to Joe Biden, this was a very catchy moment to me, he's not that smart. Painting that picture, Joe Biden, not that smart. He changed Joe Biden's nickname. Slow Joe, phony Kamala. This repetition, these easy stories that immediately paint a picture in your mind of who these people are. He's selling fear in a way that's different from the way that the Biden and Kamala ad was selling fear. So, yeah, this ad isn't really saying what Trump will do, but to me, it speaks more to people in a way that will stay with them. If I'm just going about my day and thinking later on, which ad is going to come up in my mind, like the boring ad about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, or that crazy Trump ad where I can't stop thinking about how crazy he called them Slow Joe and phony Kamala. So. On a persuasion level, I definitely think that Trump's ad is much more appealing. And so my point overall is not to just compare ads. And obviously Trump already has some other crazy ads out where he's again trying to paint a picture of Joe being slow and completely ineffective and all that. It's going to be a long race, but Trump's ability to sway people and persuade people and to really hit them where they are, to like get on their level and then bring them to his level, is much, much better than the Build Back Better team. So my observations, my thoughts, I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the super chat. Leave some super chats if you're feeling good. Let's see here. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Your comments are really funny. Okay, so remember to smash the like button, share this stream, join us as a member, statuscoup.com/join, and get a free, I always forget to switch this, get a free Status Coup mask, which are exclusive only to new members. The ones in our Teespring store are different. And if you join as an annual member, you get a shirt too. Yeah. So definitely let me know in the chats. Leave some super chats. Come on, guys. Come on, man. it's almost convention time. So leave some chats in preparation. No, seriously though, it really, really helps us. Oh, I actually think that I see a GoFundMe come through. Kelly Elaine, $20 in the GoFundMe. You are amazing, Kelly. As always, just such an amazing supporter, such an amazing Status Coup crew member. Here's where Kelly donated at gofundme.com/status-coup-news. And yeah, we love your support. Your support helps so much. We're in discussions about like future plans, but it might be the case either this month or next month that we'll be going back out in the field. So I'm not 100% sure, but we have some things in the works, and so we are definitely trying to kind of get back on our feet financially. We've been harmed by COVID for sure, as so many have been. So statuscoup.com/join, or the GoFundMe is very, very welcome as well. And of course, we love the super chat love. I told you, the super chats make me smile so much. So let's move on here. Let me close out these old screens. You guys might have seen this already, but I really feel the need to highlight it because this shows you exactly what the DNC and what centrist establishment Democrats think of us. This is truly what they think of us, which is to say absolutely nothing. They don't care about us at all. So AOC, this is out of Forbes. I believe Business Insider actually broke it. AOC only gets 60 seconds at Democratic convention to deliver pre-recorded message. Does that make any sense to anyone at all? AOC is someone who is inspiring people to be more progressive, to support things like Medicare for All, a Green New Deal, is inspiring young people to get interested in politics and to take action and to vote. There's a reason she's now a national superstar. The DNC should be using her and having her speak and having her do everything, everything that she can do, because she's inspiring. If they really want to grow the party, if they really want to have power, the AOC Bernie wing is where it's at. That's where the new voters are going to come from. That's how the Zoomers are going to get interested in you, DNC. The Zoomers don't care about Kamala Harris. Take a look at TikTok if you want to see what the Zoomers think about the current election situation. If you want to get those younger voters who are very much into Bernie's policies, into progressive policies, you need an AOC. If you want to truly inspire people in a way that most politicians cannot, then you need an AOC. So here we are, planners of the Democratic Convention. We're smart people, right? We care about the party, right? We're the good team. So let's schedule our spots. Well, let's put John Kasich in a main role and allow John Kasich to have guests during his speaking time. And here's AOC. Let's give her 60 seconds to do it. These people are absolute morons. Like, I really wonder if they have any brains in their heads, because they must not. Like, clearly they are brainless, brain dead. Or maybe they're just monsters who have been so sold to corporations and lobbyists that they really, that's all they think about. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. So they're giving AOC, superstar of politics, 60 pre-recorded seconds to speak. There are no words. Like, obviously, knowing how bad the DNC is and how ridiculous the Democrats are overall, I didn't expect this. Like, I thought they'd be smart enough to use her as a marketing tool to get people interested in their stupid party. So here's the deal. AOC only gets 60 seconds. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will only have 1 minute to speak at the Democratic National Convention next week. Business Insider first reported Wednesday, prompting complaints the party was out of touch with young voters. So the key facts here: the DNC will air a 60-second pre-recorded message filmed by AOC in her home. The convention is being held virtually because of the coronavirus, and speakers include former First Lady Michelle Obama, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and former Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, who will deliver a live speech on Thursday. You know who else is going to give a speech there? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, who is showing up in, Epstein flight logs, which we've known for a long time, but is also showing up in parts of Virginia Giuffre's deposition from 2015 that has recently been unsealed. And it's okay. Like, the Democrats don't care. They don't care that he's so connected to a pedophile. They don't care. He's going to get primetime speaking slot on the national stage. Other progressive leaders such as Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are also slated to speak. It's unclear if any other speakers are subject to the same time limits, and the DNC did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Forbes. AOC did not criticize the party directly, tweeting a poem by Dr. Benjamin E. Mays in response. So the poem she tweeted says, "I only have a minute, 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I did not choose it, but I know that I must use it. Give account if I abuse it. Suffer if I lose it. Only a tiny minute, but eternity is in it." Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, and recited by Elijah Cummings. So, some slam the Democratic Party for being out of touch with young voters, especially considering AOC's national profile. So a lot of people, obviously Twitter kind of blew up on this. In addition to AOC's minute, the DNC speaker lineup has been widely panned by left-leaning activists for including former Ohio Governor John Kasich, a Republican, who, by the way, has been super bad for women and abortion, and he's a Republican. This is bad. To give someone like Kasich a primetime spot and to shove AOC, and honestly, I think she's brilliant. She's a brilliant speaker. Think whatever you want of her playing politics or whatever. Maybe you're not an AOC fan, but she's a powerful speaker, and she has progressive policies. She needs to be pushed sometimes, but she can do so much good for progressives and for the party. And they just don't see it. More likely, they just don't care. So, obviously, people are up in arms about this. I doubt it's going to change. It probably won't be. The party belongs to people at the Lincoln Project, all the conservatives there. It apparently now belongs to John Kasich and the Clintons, of course. The party doesn't belong to us. They don't want us. Hillary said it in 2016. She doesn't need us or want us. These people who purport to be the best in politics in the world are truly really, really bad at politics. Like, at least pretend to care about the people so you could, like, maybe win the presidency. Just an idea. So more on Kasich. This is interesting to me. This was tweeted out by Jordan Yule, and he said, "Why did you do this at HRC, meeting the Human Rights Campaign? And why did you do it within the last 48 hours, according to Google Cache?" So what he's talking about is the Human Rights Campaign deleted their John Kasich page. So it used to be, this was in the Google. I sound like a boomer. Sorry to boomers. I love boomers, but I always say the Twitter. John Kasich opposed marriage equality, same-sex adoption. John Kasich opposed marriage equality, same-sex adoption. During his time in Congress and as governor of Ohio, John Kasich has opposed marriage equality, basic domestic and partner benefits for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender couples. His record on non-discrimination is decidedly mixed. So now, when you try to look for that page or click on that page, it says, "We're sorry, but we can't find that page." So why did this happen? And why did it happen when John Kasich was announced as a speaker at the Democratic convention? Well, I think it's pretty clear. They don't want people finding that. They didn't know there were such sleuths on the internet, of course. And for those who aren't familiar, obviously it used to be if you search John Kasich Human Rights Campaign, that blurb would pop up that I just showed you, and Google is a little bit behind. So even though the Human Rights Campaign deleted it a couple of days ago, it's like remnants are still in Google. So that's how they were able to know that page used to exist and no longer does, and how we're able to see what used to be there. So highly disappointing. Again, not surprising. The Dems are going to cover their tracks, and they're going to welcome right-wingers who happen to not like Trump with open arms. And meanwhile, progressives are pushed to the side and treated like dirt. They would much rather rub elbows with the Lincoln Project and George Conway and friends. That whole list is just stomach turning. They'd rather be besties with those people than pull in any progressives, than lift up AOC, even to suit their own needs. They would rather lose than give anything to progressives. Really horrible. Thankfully, we have people who are good and who are fighting for what's right, and who will be doing so. You know, there are delegates who have plans for the convention on how they're going to vote and what they're going to push for. So here we have Khanna, who I know people have thoughts about him. I happen to really like him and his policies, and I think he's good. So Khanna announces no vote on DNC platform over exclusion of moral issue of our time, Medicare for all. So he says, I will be voting no on the platform because when we say that healthcare is a human right, says the progressive congressman from California, we must truly mean it and fight for it. Congressman Khanna, co-chair of the California delegation to the Democratic National Convention, announced in an op-ed for Common Dreams Thursday that he is voting against the 2020 Democratic platform over its failure to endorse Medicare for all, joining what has become a significant delegate revolt against the party's refusal to commit to guaranteeing health care as a human right even amid a global pandemic. History teaches us that the Democratic Party has sometimes faced an issue so great that it alone should be the yardstick for measuring the wisdom of voting for or against the platform. In my view, 2020 presents us with another such issue. I believe that moving away from a profit-based healthcare system is the moral issue of our time. And in the final analysis, because of that belief, I could not vote for a platform that lacks a clear statement supporting Medicare for all. I will be voting no on the platform because when we say that healthcare is a human right, we must truly mean it and fight for it. I believe that if we remain stuck on such concepts as affordable when talking about solutions to healthcare accessibility, we are badly constrained inside a limited debate. So it of course goes on to say more. I'll pop the link in the chat for you. But I wanted to highlight that because I think it kind of, it gives hope in a way. It shows us that there are good people who are fighting for good progressive policies and who will stand up to power. Maybe they don't go as far as you want them to, but people like AOC and Khanna and Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, hopefully I didn't leave anyone out of the squad, the true squad. There are people who are fighting, and I don't know if the DNC, if the Democrats are ever going to truly accept progressives. They definitely have incentive not to, but at least we have good people fighting. So Jacqueline DeBlue, another 20 pounds in the super chat, just to say 222, and also come on, man. Jacqueline, you make me crack up. You're really funny, and I love your support. It's so helpful. You're the best, absolutely the best. John Kemper, $2 in the super chat. Join today because still on that Jen Jordan ticket. Yay! Thanks for joining, John. You get a cool status quo mask now. You're awesome. Yeah, so it's really discouraging. It's just, I don't know. It sometimes feels like, especially with Bernie out, I think a lot of us have been kind of depressed and down, but it really helps to look to the people who are doing good. And I don't know, maybe I'm a Pollyanna, and I think I am, but I think that if we all work together, we can make change. At least that's my hope. I'll never stop trying. I'll never stop fighting, and it's good to know that there are people in power that are the same way. So, I have hope. I'm hopeful. You guys say such nice things in the super chat. I really, really appreciate you all. You guys are the best. Dimitri OG 199 in the super chat. Wish I could give more. Dimitri, you're so great. I love having you in the chat. You always tend to give me a smile too. Awesome. Come on, man. Yeah. Okay. So I really wanted to give you an update on Breonna Taylor. As you guys know, Jordan and I were in the field last month, and Jordan interviewed Breonna Taylor's aunt, Bianca Austin, and several, leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement and leaders of the protests. And it was really an inspirational trip. On the other hand, it continues to be just horrifying and shocking. Although it shouldn't be shocking, it is, because you think about there being, like, I guess you grow up being taught that, justice is possible, I guess. But really, it's so often not possible, or it so often doesn't come. And so in the case of Breonna Taylor, you have people like Oprah now putting up billboards in Louisville, and putting, no one else is, not to give Oprah too many kudos, because she was like $2 billion. She doesn't need my kudos. But her face is always on her Oprah magazine. For the first time ever, she put someone else's face, and she put Breonna Taylor's face on her magazine. So she and other celebrities are trying to shed light on the fact that justice has not been done for Breonna Taylor. Her murderers have not been held to account. They have not been arrested. And it's just unbelievable. It seems like there might be a little bit of movement now. So I'm feeling hopeful. My heart goes out to Breonna's family and to the community, and I just hope justice is done. So here's the latest news, the latest update. So this is Ben Crump, who is an attorney on the case, and he tweeted today after meeting with, I guess this is the Attorney General, Attorney General Daniel Cameron and the Mayor of Louisville. We expect charges will be filed against those who killed Breonna Taylor. That's some good, hopeful news. Let's have a listen at part of this press conference that was held. So Ben Crump, Breonna Taylor's family, some of Breonna Taylor's family members were at this press conference. It was quite long, so I'm definitely not going to play all of it, but I'll play some of it so you can kind of get an idea, and then we'll go through some of the finer details to see kind of how this is happening, or what might come. Rewind this. Oh my goodness. All right.
I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Lanita Baker and Attorney Sam Aguiar. We represent the family of Breonna Taylor. Yesterday we had a very important series of meetings. As you all know, we met with the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, in the morning, and in the afternoon we met with Mayor Fisher and the city attorney. At this time, we're going to have Attorney Lanita Baker, my most able co-counsel, based right here in Louisville, Kentucky, as you know, talk to you about the meeting with the Attorney General, and then I will share some remarks with you about the meeting with Mayor Fisher, and then we will hear from Tamika Palmer, and we also have present her sister Bianca, who has been a good shoulder for her to lean on through this entire ordeal. But first we will give you Lanita Baker, who said she first told me about this no-knock warrant that led to the execution of Tamika's daughter. Breonna Taylor. Attorney Lanita Baker.
Thank you. I'm here this morning to talk about our meeting yesterday with Attorney General Daniel Cameron, where Tamika Palmer, Janaya Palmer, Brianna's sister, Bianca Austin, myself, and Sam Aguiar were present with Attorney Daniel Cameron and members of his staff. The purpose of that meeting was for the Attorney General to personally extend his condolences to Ms. Palmer and the family of Breonna Taylor. That was the first time that he had personally spoken with them. During the meeting, he did indicate that he did not reach out previously as he was fearful that it could compromise his investigation. He did not divulge any of the details of his investigation, but said that he is waiting on ballistics from the FBI, as well as interviewing some additional witnesses or re-interviewing witnesses that they may have already spoken to. He did not give a timeline. However, it is our position that we're not going to wait forever. We do want this resolved quickly and accurately, so that Ms. Palmer and the family can get some answers as it relates to the murder of Breonna Taylor. And with that, I'll answer questions later, but I'll turn it over to my co-counsel, Mr. Crump.
Thank you, Lanita. And I have to step down. As we sit here over 150 days later, after this tragedy that should have never happened, Attorney Baker and I met with Mayor Fisher in the city attorney's office, and we had a very positive, productive conversation about how we try to work together to heal this city beyond just getting justice in the criminal matter for Breonna Taylor. And Lanita and I held no punches back when we talked with Mayor Fisher, because you understand, Mayor Fisher is not just the leader of Louisville, Kentucky. He also acts as the current president of the United States Conference of Mayors. So whatever actions that he takes not only sends a message to Louisville, Kentucky, but it sends a message to all the cities across America. And so we challenged him to make sure that he is courageous and responsible in trying to lead his city out of this tragedy. Not only as a legacy for his administration, not only as a legacy for his city, but as a legacy for Breonna Taylor. He has that power, and we want him to rise to the occasion. And so we talk about, Attorney Baker and I, how he deals with, as a minister who was with us said quite eloquently, when you say, Lanita, he said, first, we can't just get to healing. That's the last step. First, you have to admit the wrong. You have to admit the wrong that occurred. And then you have to have conscientious thoughts about how that wrong happened. As Attorney Aguilar continues to talk about how we change policies to prevent this from happening again, you got to have conscientious thought. I mean, you got to have serious deliberation.
Okay, so I will drop that link in the chat because it's definitely worth watching the full press conference for sure. other people speak as well, and it's just really, really important to watch, I think. But for now, let's get into some of what happened at this conference. Breonna Taylor family attorneys push for charges hopefully before October. This is out of USA Today. Attorneys for the family of Breonna Taylor on Thursday renewed their calls for charges to be brought against the officers involved in her death, a day after Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron met with Taylor's family to express his condolences. The meeting, initiated by Cameron, included Taylor's mother, sister, aunt, and family attorneys, according to Cameron's office and attorney Sam Aguilar, who is representing the family. Few details on the investigation were divulged, but so this is Lonnie Baker saying this. Baker told reporters, but she said Cameron, who is investigating Taylor's fatal police shooting, they should have said Taylor's murder at the hands of police, said he was awaiting ballistic results from the FBI from the scene. Ben Crump, another attorney for Taylor's family, who was the man you were just watching, said he was confident charges would be brought against the officers involved sooner rather than later. Crump was critical of the fact that all of the officers had not yet been terminated or arrested, comparing the situation to the deaths of George Floyd and Rayshard Brooks, both black men who were killed at the hands of police who later faced charges. One officer, Brett Hankinson, has been fired for his role in the shooting death. This week marked 150 days since Taylor's death, Crump said, and we expect hopefully before 200 days charges to happen. Tamika Palmer, Taylor's mother, said in a statement that she was glad Cameron sought the meeting Wednesday and that he seemed sincere and genuine. Palmer said Cameron didn't say which direction he's leaning, but that after the meeting, she's more confident that truth will come out and justice will be served. We let him know how important it was for their office to get all of the facts, to get the truth, and to get justice for Breonna, Palmer said. We all deserve to know the whole truth behind what happened to my daughter. The Attorney General committed to getting us the truth. We're going to hold him up to that commitment. At the press conference Thursday, Palmer expressed her gratitude to activists and protesters who have continued their calls for justice in the wake of her daughter's death. At this point, it's bigger than Breonna. It's bigger than just Black lives. It's about bridging the gaps between us and the police, Palmer said. Aguilar said the investigation was also pending on witnesses who still need to be interviewed. Aguilar said he initially was frustrated that there were still witnesses to be interviewed, given that Taylor was fatally shot March 13th, but Cameron clarified that there are re-interviews to be done. To the extent that those are ones the police didn't do a good job on, while I wish they'd already been done, I was pleased to hear they're getting their own versions, Aguilar said. In a statement, Cameron's spokesperson, Elizabeth Kuhn, said Cameron was grateful to meet the family, which provided an opportunity for him to personally express his condolences. The investigation remains ongoing, and our Office of Special Prosecutions continues to review all the facts in the case to determine the truth, Kuhn said. And then it gets into kind of a history of Breonna's murder. Cameron said last week that his office is waiting on information from ballistics tests that the FBI is conducting. The FBI later confirmed that ballistic evidence, along with the shooting reconstruction from Taylor's apartment, is being tested and analyzed at the agency's laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. Louisville activist Christopher 2X was at the Wednesday morning meeting, which he said lasted about 45 minutes. During it, the family shared their pain about the loss of Taylor, as well as who she was and what she was passionate about with regard to the medical field. That was something we wanted to make sure AG Cameron understood, 2X said. They got different pieces or items about Breonna, but they never had the chance to hear face-to-face about how her family felt about her and who she was. By the end of the meeting, he added, Cameron committed to telling the family directly what his decision around criminal charges was before he shared it publicly. Everyone left with a sense that it was better to have this communication today than to not have it, 2X said. Palmer added in her emailed statement that we have to make real changes to keep this from happening to anyone else. At the end of the day, we have to bridge the community and the police, Palmer said. That starts with truth and justice. So I'm more hopeful, than I was. This case continues to just be one of the most heartbreaking cases. And the fact is that no one was saying, say her name, Breonna Taylor, before, when it first happened. They were trying to get what happened out there, but it wasn't catching on. And, other names were rightly being focused on. So finally, Breonna's case was brought to national recognition, and that's obviously a good thing. As I said, I think it's good that celebrities and people who have a lot of influence are now involved. I think it's good that there's a true spotlight on this case now, and after waiting a really, really, really long time, over 150 days at this point, for her family to see any kind of movement forward is a good thing. And I'm hopeful. It's hard to kind of tell yourself, like, oh, don't get your hopes up because this is America we're talking about. But maybe some justice will be done. Breonna's life can never be brought back. She had plans to travel. She had career plans. She had a boyfriend. She had a great family. And that was taken from her, and that can never be brought back. But what can happen is that her family sees some justice and is able to start the process of healing as much as possible. So we will definitely stay up to date on this story, and I know that Jordan's been in contact with Bianca Austin, Breonna's aunt, pretty recently. So yeah, we'll definitely stay on it. It's really important, and it's important for all of us to not forget and for it to kind of stay in the media. It's definitely not at the top of the chyrons at CNN, that's for sure. So, but Status Coup, we will be there. I don't think I popped in that link. Here we go. So there's the link. Dimitri asks, please let us know when available. When what's available? I don't know. Okay, so one thing that I forgot to tell you guys to do is to subscribe to this channel. If you're new here, we are trying to grow. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers, which will be, it's a pretty big deal in YouTube land. It will be a great thing for us with our business, with our reporting. It gives us more clout. We'll be able to get more interviews. So tell your friends and family to subscribe. Tell everyone you know to subscribe, and make sure you haven't been unsubscribed, because I've heard reports of YouTube doing that. Oh, okay. So I guess Dave says Dimitri means Jordan's Sky News interview. I'm not sure. He said though that the Australian reporter who did the interview was really good. He asked good questions, and he did a good job. It was like a refreshing interview, apparently. So I haven't seen it. I'll have to ask him. Maybe he can find it, or we can find it and let you guys know about that. So subscribe to this channel, and don't forget, sign up as a member of Status Coup for just $5 a month, and get your Status Coup mask. They're really easy to breathe through. They're cotton. They're stylish. I mean, who wouldn't want to wear a Status Coup mask? And these are different from the ones in our Teespring store, exclusive to new members. We only have 30 left, so these are going pretty fast. And I don't know, we had to special order these, so I don't know if they'll be available again. So definitely get yours now. statuscoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you can get a mask. If you sign up annually, you get a mask and a t-shirt. And what else? Yeah, just keep your eye on Status Coup. We will definitely be reporting throughout the convention next week. And we have lots of news for you, lots of things planned. We have some plans going into our membership, some new stuff for members coming very, very soon. And really, really, really good stuff. So thank you guys all for the super chats. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eye to the coup. If you haven't been getting our text notifications, text COUP to 370-370, and get breaking news and live alerts. And what else? I don't know. So I've been going for about 2 hours, which is way too long. If you guys have any last minute questions, I'll answer those. Otherwise, I'm gonna sign off and eat dinner. So let me know if you guys have any questions at all. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see here. Yes, Dave D with a reminder to text COUP to 370370. Do it now before you forget about it. Get out your phone and subscribe to that text list. It really is handy because YouTube does not want to notify anyone. They very infrequently send out notifications, so it's a mess. But our text alerts work really, really well, so definitely sign up. Andrew says, hi, I'm Kamala Harris, and if you're doing an interview with me, I will answer yes to all your questions. Yeah, thank you guys for being here, and good night to you all. And yeah, Jordan should be back tomorrow, probably, depending on how things go, probably on Sunday too. So keep spreading the word of Status Coup. Keep your head up. There's so much going on, so many disappointing things going on, so much disappointing news, so many disappointing people, but that's okay because we'll all get through it together. We'll all keep our heads up. Okay, statuscoup.com/join. Subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, support our GoFundMe, gofundme.com/status-coup-news. Love you all. Bye bye.